Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host, Holly. I'm joined by Stef and Chris. And gentlemen, it is episode 200.
Woohoo!
It's a wow moment for me. Episode 200 of us wittering on about our beloved Arsenal. If you cast your minds back to the dim and distant past, to episode number 1, I think across our social media platforms, we had a very handsome 200 or 300 followers, something like that. Fast forward to episode 200, and we are approaching 50,000 followers. Guys, could you believe that there are almost 50,000 sane individuals out there willingly listening to us chat about football and about Arsenal?
No, and I've said it many times before that I'm still taken aback by the fact that it's not just our mums and long-suffering partners that are listening to us out of pity, but there are actual Arsenal fans and maybe even rival fans out there that want to check in with us every now and again, and we really appreciate it.
It is very humbling, and I don't say that lightly. I thoroughly enjoy talking to you two boys and about Arsenal in particular and wider football issues. But wow, 200 episodes deep. And what's been really interesting this season is the growing level of engagement across our various social media platforms from all over the world. Again, mental. Wow, thank you so much, and for engaging and telling us where you listen to us and how you listen to us or watch us, whatever it may be. And but it's quite difficult to continue conversations across 5 or 6 different media platforms with individuals and so on, and making sure that people who take the time to send us comments and observations and to check in with us are actually, it is appreciated, and we do absolutely try and engage with you guys as much as we possibly can. But we're thinking in the lead up to Christmas and over the kind of Christmas break about how we can streamline this a little bit more. And what we came up with is if we could migrate all of our various social media listeners into one area, and we've come up with the idea of migrating to Patreon, free Patreon members. Once I found out that you were allowed to have a free presence on Patreon, I thought, well, this is a no-brainer, because if we can get our community all together in one place, then we can much more access to us as well. But setting up things such as the Discord channel, so you can chat amongst each other. We can set up little quizzes or polls and get more listener engagement and contribution, and it's much easier for us to manage if it's in one place. Steph's agreed to write the diary of away end Steph every week.
Kind of newsletter
Yes.
update, just to give you an insight in what it's like as a travelling fan for whom every game is an away game. And we'll talk about the Villa game that's just happened. But yeah, you'll get an insight. I've got Bournemouth coming up, for example. I've got a first trip to Portsmouth in the FA Cup. And so, yeah, a little kind of blog newsletter type thing, just to give you an insight on what that's like.
Because you missed your bus, didn't you? Yesterday.
There were all sorts of incidents going on yesterday in terms of travel. Yeah,
Steph went into radio silence at various points yesterday. I wasn't sure at the time whether it was because it was just foul mood or he was actually driving himself to the game.
Bit of both, I'm going to say.
So what we'll do is we'll send a link, or we'll attach a link to the description and across all our platforms as well, to come and join us in our Patreon area as a free member. I emphasize that free. I didn't realize until I looked it up a couple of months ago that you don't have to pay to set up or to become a member of an artist or a podcaster in this case. So anyway, we look forward to welcoming you there, where we will also introduce kind of more exclusive content as time goes by and we work out exactly how to use the platform to its fullest. I'm looking at you two boys because technically I'm out. I'm out, you know. So I just wanted to give that a shout out. Look, thank you so much for your support, your positive comments, your constructive comments, always welcome as well. And it's been an absolute blast. And we are halfway through this season. And what's that phrase from 80s TV? Oh, I'm so excited, I could crush a grape.
Oh, God. That's reaching.
Is it?
And
Okay.
I'd just like to also add that, you know, yes, we're emphasising the free nature of the membership on Patreon, but if you do want to help us, you know, leaving reviews, leave a rating wherever you listen, and posting a comment on our videos, it just helps boost the algorithm, makes us a bit more aware to people, and ultimately just tell people about us. If you like listening to us and you think, you know, you enjoy our sort of more, hopefully more rational and reasoned approach to enjoying the football, then yeah, just let some people know, get them subscribing, and you know, we'll build a community from there.
We will even welcome that one person who messaged on Spotify a while back who said we were too emotional.
Sorry.
Yeah, we were too emotional and we weren't impartial enough. Leave that like kind of silence there, let that percolate for a while. The Arsenal podcast was too Arsenal centric, but hey ho.
As
anyway,
I sit here in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah. Oh, and Chris has got company.
I do. I've got Max, the Arsenal gnome. For those of you listening, he's currently perched on my microphone. I just wanted to put in there as a sort of reflection of what you guys have just been saying about the community that we've built, and how someone very kindly sent me it, having listened to the pods and knowing that I do take out my anger on various garden gnomes, which are sort of headless and legless in my garden. This one will not, I promise you, will not receive such punishment. He's going to become like a lucky mascot.
Max Gnome, the Arsenal mascot. We like it.
Yeah.
We like it. Right, okay, with that said, wow. Can I just start the proper part of the podcast where we look back at the Villa game by congratulating me?
Yes.
Well done. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Hats
off my
off.
hat.
Literally, hats off. Unbelievable.
When that one goal went in, I rolled my eyes.
I must admit, when Raya made that save, just prior to that, I was like, oh, that's a good save, but damn it. How badly do I want my prediction to come true? 4-1. Oh, how you all laughed at me and my naivety and my blind optimism.
Well, we did say we hoped you were right.
Yeah, but obviously you hoped I was right.
And we agreed with your reasoning in the fact that you said the chance creation over the last few games meant that at some point those chances were going to be converted, and we absolutely agreed. Did I think it would be against Villa last night? Villa on a
And
run
all
of
in
10
one
wins
half.
in a row.
All
Exactly.
in one half.
Yes,
Did you
ask me
believe
at
at
half-time how I was feeling, and I wasn't thinking, 4-1.
I bet you weren't.
I was thinking, crap, I'm going to have to do a bit of a climb down if this carries on. I had faith. I did predict 4-1, and when Ollie Watkins put in that in the 96th minute, I did afford myself a wee little smile at the smug acknowledgement I was guaranteed to instigate now.
Enjoy it.
No, absolutely. It was almost a perfect storm. I could see it coming together with their couple of players missing through suspension as well. Like the only two players who were at the risk of missing our game through a fifth yellow card were two of their players who got booked against Chelsea. It was almost like it was written. And you know, we owed them. I know we talk about revenge, but they were on an amazing run, 11 straight wins. But at the start of the month, against us, they beat us 2-1 with the second last kick of the penultimate kick of the game, and Buendia with that goalmouth scramble winner at Villa Park. Since then, however, we've won all 4 games we've played, but not convincingly, I think it's fair to say. Penalty shootout in one case, 3 own goals or 4 own goals?
Wasn't it 3 out of 4? Or
3 out of 4,
6?
plus a penalty, plus a penalty winner as well. But the last 2 games, Everton and Brighton had seen a little bit of a shift. The chance creation was back up really high. Our XG was over 3 in, I think, our last 3 games, but we just weren't taking our chances. And then Villa come to town, and I don't mind Villa. I have no issues with Villa at all. I don't think we deserved to lose the game at Villa Park, but we definitely didn't deserve to win it. We didn't do enough to win it. A draw would have been a fair result as such. And I get the underdog story. I get that, and I'm, on board with that. When it doesn't involve Arsenal being the victim of the underdog story, I'm on board with that. But there was a real OTT mainstream, not pylon, but like Villa are the real deal. Villa are going, this is the Arsenal game of the season, Arsenal's biggest challenge. And all the time I'm thinking, we're going to win 4-1. Like, and I want to see us get the flowers now and us receive the plaudits for, I was a bit arrogant and entitled perhaps when I was predicting a 6-0 home win against Wolves as a statement win, a statement victory. But what I got last night was that statement victory, and a much more powerful and impressive statement against Aston Villa than it would have been against Wolves. And I like the fact that City don't play for 48 hours.
Stewing.
Yes, absolutely. To thinking, okay, right, that's a big game, big win. Like Arsenal were good value for that win ultimately. So this is why I went the 4-1, and this is why I'm kind of basking in the glory of that now, because it doesn't happen often. The stats then, believe it or not, we only had 46% possession in the game. I was really surprised by that. We had 22 shots. They had 11. 7 on target for us, 3 on target for them. Now, the XG is interesting. Our total XG was 3.17. Theirs was 2.67. And I read somewhere that something like 36% of the XG we've against us this season has been from Villa, the 2 games against Villa.
Wow.
So, they were in the game, and we'll talk about the first half when they were more in the game. We had 38 touches in their box, they had 20 in ours, and we had 3 corners each. XG from open play for us was 2.25. From them was 2.66. They had a higher XG from open play. So, ironically, the one game they have a high XG they underscore in, when their whole success has been built on a run of games where their XG has been minuscule and their goal tally has been ridiculous in relation to it. So they're the kind of broad headline stats from the game. I have to start with the team news. I mean, I must admit, and I did broadcast this on our WhatsApp group. When the news dropped that Declan Rice, and I'd heard earlier in the day that he wasn't in the training pictures, and I just ignored it because I thought, no, bury my head in the sand. Ignorance is bliss. But then when reliable accounts like Hand of Arsenal were putting out there that Declan Rice is not going to make it, I must admit my bullishness, 4-1 bullishness, was coming down a notch or two at that point. But then, revolving doors, 1 in, 1 out, Rice out, Timber back in, which I think was as important. So we had a bit of a debate before the game in the ground and the concourse. Marino came in for Rice, and I think we would have all predicted that. I did put forward the kind of alternative that maybe with Gabriel and Saliba centre-back pairing back together, Timber on the right, Hincapié, who's more of a defensive left-back than Calafiori, for example, on the left, and Zubimendi in front of the back two. That is as solid a base as we could probably put together this season, right? And I just thought, I wonder, because Villa have been quite, not porous, but their XG against has been quite high, and they've been giving up a lot of chances, and just Chelsea, for example, didn't capitalise on those. I wonder, was it an opportunity to play Eze with Ødegaard? We know Ødegaard drops deep anyway, is his natural game, and Eze is a left 10, scored a hat-trick against Spurs, winner against Crystal Palace, and keep the width with Saka and Trossard and Gyökeres. I know I said Jesus could start, but Gyökeres starting. I just wondered, was it an opportunity to really go for it? I was shot down by everybody I put that option to. So how did you two, Steph, so I'll start with you. How did you feel about, the Rice news, the Timber news, but actually the eventual starting 11?
The Rice news came at a time when my blood pressure was through the roof because due to various reasons, I'd missed my bus down from Norfolk, so was then scrabbling around with a friend of mine about driving down and sorting ourselves out. And so when Rice came in, I felt like the stars were aligning for an all-time doom fest that was going to occur.
Can I read your WhatsApp? You can say no.
Does it have a swear word in it?
It does have a swear word in it.
Can you just edit the swear word, please?
I said Rice out FFS because I'm down with the kids. Then Timber should be available though. And your response 8 minutes later was, at the minute I couldn't give a bleep about the team because I'd be lucky to make it there on time myself with all the bleeping traffic hold-ups and accidents and road closures. I've missed the supporters club bus, so I'm all ready. And then you just stopped. I thought, has he crashed? I don't know what's happened.
Sorry.
Has he just stopped?
Yeah. So
Just
that was
put
a
the
little
phone
insight
down in
into
disgust.
my evening. That said, and it's in hindsight, I didn't really even clock that Rice being out was occupying too much of my brain for me to even really register the fact that Timber had come back in. But in hindsight, had both been out, I would have worried really about what might have occurred, because Timber coming in just gives you all that balance and a surety.
And with Morgan Rogers on the left-hand side, who's going to marshal him on the at right back? Norgard, possibly. You just don't know when we would be back. We'd be down to our fifth choice right back, wouldn't we? Although Ben White was back on the bench, and that was good to see as well. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I'd like to mention as well the fact that Gabby starting was a big deal. Let's not overlook that, because having him at the heart of things, as it transpired,
I love him.
I mean, what he gives us just in his presence, just by being there. So that was a big deal as well, making sure that he was fit to start. But yeah, the Rice thing, the immediate thought I had missing Rice was athleticism and that balance in midfield, which I don't think we had for the opening, 10-15 minutes for sure. I know we'll come on to it, but just the way that absence impacted us was a slight concern, and that I don't think we coped very well. So the idea of having Eze and Ødegaard, which I like offensively as an idea, I just worry that neither of them are renowned for their kind of anticipation. I think Marino technically is a better fit because he is more of a kind of anticipator and able to get his foot in, but you saw him get turned quite a few times and possibly lucky to stay on.
Yeah, we'll come to that. Maybe you've got more info on that, but yeah, we'll come on to the Marino issue in a second, because it's something that I missed in the game in the moment. I missed it completely. My issue with the Rice was I was really happy that Kamara for them was suspended. I thought that gave us the physical edge in midfield, but then Rice dropping out, I thought, that's negated that physicality there. Although you have to say they put out a midfield of Onana and Tielemans. That's a very physical midfield. Surprisingly, McGinn was on the bench. And we need to thank Marino for ensuring that Onana didn't make it out for the second half, if we're allowed to say that. I'm not sure. It made a big difference. Okay, the first half then, Steph, let me ask Chris actually, because me and you were having the same conversations throughout the course of the first half. Chris, you've alluded to it. Mm-hmm. The first half was not good.
No.
Okay, it wasn't good, and I've read out Villa's XG from open play has been 2.66, and I think a lot of that must have come in the first half. How were you feeling about the ease with which Villa were just walking through our midfield?
I think it's, like I said, it stemmed from not having Rice there and the shape we had and the balance. And when there was an injury or break where we did get everyone over to the sideline to get a bit of a pep talk from Mikel about just reshaping things slightly. But yeah, it was a bit of a worry. We know that they're good at that transition, the way they turn, their verticality, whatever they call it. Onana, Rodgers was rolling people so easily. And there were a couple of balls. There was one through to Watkins, I think, where they did just slice through us in a matter of 2 passes. But I think we kind of addressed that. My main concern was how we moved it when we had the ball, in that when you've got Trossard and Saka, and if you don't get them early, they're not players who like it in the space in front of them. So if you had, for example, Madueke, Martinelli playing, I'm not suggesting we should have, but you can put it into that space in behind that Villa often leave you in that kind of mid-block, and you've got something to run onto. But that's not Trossard's game for sure. He wants it to feet, and then he does his thing, give and go. And I felt that's where we came unstuck a lot in the first half. We just weren't moving it quickly enough, and it just got stuck with Saka was being marked out of the game. So for me, I just wanted to see a more quicker release of the ball and potentially get it forward, quicker.
We ceded 3 chances that I can remember really early in the game, so first 20 minutes probably. Number 1, and I might have the wrong order here, but number 1 was the Ollie Watkins chance right in front of us, Steph, where he scuffed it with his right foot this side of the post.
That was really...
Watching that again, watching the replay, that was a terrible miss.
Yes.
Strong foot, basically the whole goal to aim at, and that was an easy finish for a striker of his quality.
It was one, watching it back later on, I couldn't help but wonder, did he think he was offside? So he didn't fully commit to it or something? It was weird. Yeah. It was very odd.
Number 2, Onana, straight through, knife through butter, and then bizarrely played for a penalty. Like, really odd. I'm not sure why he did that, because he would have had a clear shot and the referee was right on. I mean, we'll have to talk about the referee. No, let's not talk about the referee. I don't want to talk about the referee. But he was very straight away with his no penalty. And he was right up with play, in fairness to him. He was about 5 yards behind him, so he could see there was no contact. And then the third one was the Saliba, a fantastic Saliba toe to take it away from Watkins. And Watkins would have had a tap in, really. We thought the flag had gone up for offside, so it wouldn't have counted. But actually, they brought them back for a free kick, and I think that was the incident that Marino got yellow carded for, his challenge on Onana.
It was so long ago. Why did the ref play? Like, he played an advantage, but then took it back for the. I didn't understand that refereeing. That was weird.
Yeah. Let's not talk about him. There's too much. So, Steph, how were you feeling? What did you want to see? I know, Chris, you've illustrated the things that you wanted to see. What did you want to see in terms of our, like, from 20, 25 minutes on? There was a 26 minute, on the 26th minute, there was an injury to a Villa player. It might have been the Onana one, I can't remember. And the entire Arsenal squad team went over to Arteta. What did you want Arteta to be telling them at that point?
Well, I mean, just to address the issue of the fact that they could so easily progress up the pitch when we lost the ball. So it was either make sure that you're more competent with the ball, whether those passes have a little bit more conviction, a little bit more zip, a little bit more dynamism to them, or if you do lose the ball, then you've either got to do that 5 seconds of fury thing to try and win it back and intercept, or you've got to just close the lanes with which they were passing through, because there was a clear Declan Rice hole in the team.
I was just going to ask you that, yeah.
And I think can I just chip in there as well? Like you alluded to earlier, Holly, about having Zubi in front of the back four, which is brilliant, but it felt like he was a bit isolated in those instances, that Zubi alone is not going to be a single pivot, defensive midfielder.
And against a very, very accomplished team as well, on fire in terms of their form. I noticed that one of those 3 chances we gave up was because Gabriel had dived or jumped into midfield. He'd left his centre-back berth. And I wonder, was he trying to compensate for the absence of Rice and the fact that Zubimendi was a little bit isolated there? But he got completely caught. It was Saliba's pace which we underestimate as well. It was his pace coming back that actually prevented another really potentially quite dangerous situation unfolding.
And sorry, just one thing as well, because you also noticed this. This was really early in the game. I'm talking the first few minutes, because you were still thinking about whether or not we could have gone with a slightly more attacking midfield with Eze in it. And you noticed quite early on that there was a spell, you know, that classic passing out from the back kind of thing. Odegaard was dropping deep, almost like a quarterback, picking the ball up. And you said that could have afforded us someone like Eze to be in a more advanced position. But what it meant was it was kind of like an upside-down triangle in midfield where Odegaard's the quarterback and Zubamendi and Merino are offering you presence forward to try and dominate and get you on the front foot. But what that meant was if there is a transition, well, Zubamendi and Merino have got further to cover. Zubamendi can do it a bit, but he is just one person, and Merino doesn't really have the legs to do that kind of recovery. So there just needed to be that shift. And I think when Odegaard was firmly pressing from the front, that allowed us to establish that territorial advantage a little bit more solidly.
Yeah, there was with Erdogan, he's the kind of chief instigator of our press. Now, if he's dropping that deep, he's not going to be able to do both of those jobs. And Gyökeres is not an instigator of our press. Behave yourselves. And because Odegaard would invariably drop to the right side, that negates any diagonal pass to Saka. So the only person you've got to hit is Trossard, and he's not that player. He wants it into feet. He's not going to run onto it. Martinelli, Madueke, yes, of course, that plays into their strength a little bit more. So there were a few issues with our first half performance in terms of personnel. You talked about Erdegaard dropping deep and which allows Zubamendi to get ahead of him. I mean, that's what happened for the second goal. Amazingly, what the hell was Zubamendi doing making that run as your holding midfielder? But would that have happened had we not already just gone 1-0 up? And that brings me to Gabriel. His inclusion, we should acknowledge as well that in our defeat at Villa Park, neither Saliba nor Gabriel played. And we would not have conceded that second goal that at Villa Park had either one of those two been played. It just wouldn't have happened. There's an argument to say we wouldn't have lost the game. We wouldn't even been in a position to lose the game if those two had been playing in that game. But because their presence alone at the back makes us a far more effective offensive unit, attacking unit. You can see it. All that dropping deep, and I listened to you two boys talk over the Chris, is one of the pods, and you were saying that, I think, Steph, you were saying that, why are we sitting back on around about the 60, 65 minute mark? And I think you posited that maybe it was a tiredness thing, and I was screaming. I was like, Gabriel!
Mentality.
Yeah, he wouldn't allow it. And that's why Rice was getting frustrated in the Wolves game. Yeah. It's like Gabriel would not allow us to drop deep. The Tony Adams of this iteration of Arsenal. I'm the last man. If I look to my left or right and you're behind me, you've got me to deal with at half time or the end of the game, It's like, so Gabriel is that's it, he's the, I don't know, what's the word?
Well, it's accountability on the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the leader on the pitch. And we're not dropping back. We've got this. Let's keep going. Like Rice's comment, let's kill them. I love that. That's my kind of mantra. I said that after every goal yesterday. Turn around to you, Steph, and says, let's kill them. Come on. So I think having Gabriel in that, what happened when we went 1-0 up or 2-0 up? Did we sit back?
No.
What was different?
Total momentum shift. You could feel the vibe in the stadium. Yeah. It was so positive.
What was different?
Gabriel and Saliba.
Gabriel, and in particular Gabriel there. It's like if he plays every game between now and the end of the season, we will win the league. It's as simple as that.
Clipping that up.
Listen, I'm on fire. 4-1 I predicted.
Fair.
So, like, I think you should listen to what I have to say. Sorry about that. Okay. Half time came. I don't think we gave up too many chances in the last 10-15 minutes. I want to say this about Aston Villa though, and you know, all the praise they get, fine, that's good. I like Aston Villa, not got a problem with them at all as a club. I don't mind Emery, although he was a bit petulant at the end. He just walked straight down the pitch, and I'm glad they called him out on it as well, because if Arteta had walked down the tunnel,
it's all we'd
completely different story. And Arteta shook his hand after losing that goal in the 95th minute at Villa Park, and Emery claiming he waited. No, you didn't, mate. The camera's on you. You walk straight down. And Arteta spent about 2 seconds hugging his coaching staff and then went straight over to look for you, and you weren't there. Right, that's on you. And, you know, good. I'm glad people have called you out on it. I'm pleased, because hell, Arteta would have been sentenced to 3 years in a gulag somewhere for similar
celebration police.
Yeah, like I've completely lost my train of thought.
Second half,
half time.
No. So we didn't. No. Oh, Villa. Yes. No. I've got it. Aston Villa's tactics. The ball was in play for 24 minutes in that first half. Aston Villa's tactics were clearly delay, take your time, go down any opportunity you get, break up any momentum. I just thought I was disappointed with it. I'd look at, listen, fine, but we talked about this, about, you know, this almost revisionism about Emery's tenure at Arsenal, and I'm going to risk upsetting Villa fans here. Emery is a perfect manager for a mid-table team. A team that can play the underdog role. There's a reason PSG got rid of him, and there's a reason he wasn't a success at Arsenal. The two biggest teams he's managed is because you cannot have that approach when you're managing a team that... Look at the problems Thomas Frank's having at Spurs. The Brentford mentality as a Spurs manager doesn't work. You have to... You know, so Villa's tactics yesterday were tactics of the underdog.
I think it's also personality, isn't it? His personality.
That's what he does. Yes, that's what he does.
Like,
and he's
you look
very,
at
very
Amorim
good
as well. Amorim, perfectly good coach. It's all, you know, on paper again. You look at it statistically. You know, he knows what he's doing. He's got, you know, great coaching staff. Is his personality that of a Premier League winning manager? No.
Yeah. No.
So I think personality has a lot to do with it. And obviously I'm biased, but I do think, you know, Arteta's just got this kind of statesmanship about him, that he exudes this kind of authority. But he's, you know, the right man for me.
Yeah, and I have criticised him on occasion for not, and even me suggesting that he should start with Eze and Ødegaard yesterday. It's like, be a little bit more, you know, what's the word? Arrogant.
Millionaire mindset.
Yeah, like, come on.
To be champions, you've got to act like champions.
Yeah, exactly. Like, take the Rice omission and the little shot on the arm that might give Aston Villa, and say, well, actually, we've lost Rice. Here's Eze. Go on then. Deal with that. No, we mean business. So that maybe. Okay, so half time comes along. Arteta's good at half time, but we know Villa tend to have better second halves as well. Steph.
Hello.
Did you enjoy that second half?
I thoroughly enjoyed that second half for a mixture of things, only because the fact that the first goal was a set piece where Gabriel had clearly had an influence on the outcome of it, which was brilliant, and his return. There was so much narrative then doing the rounds about Emi Martinez, but the fact that the other goals were of such quality, the ball through from Martin Ødegaard is probably the thing I've watched the most again and again since the game. It is a thing of beauty.
So simple.
And I read a stat, Adam Keys on the Arsenal Therapy Pod, who we interviewed in the summer, he put out a a stat about no one's over the season. No one has played as many passes into the penalty area from his position. There's probably a few other little outlines from it as well, because it's what he does. He takes risks with his passing. He got a goal against whoever it was, Brighton, last week as well. So he's found the net recently as well, and he's just starting to exude real confidence and authority over the pitch, and it was an absolutely brilliant goal. Trossard's finish was brilliant as well. I thought he had an exceptional game, and then to then just finish it off, the fact we go 3-0 up, 4-0 up, and it's the team that have won 10 games in a row, and everyone's
11.
saying they're going to... 11, yeah. They're going to knock us off our perch and this, that and the other, and we've absolutely smashed them. And it's the ex-manager that they're all bigging up in order to put ours down, even though we are fine with Emery, like you, for reasons, there's reservations. And then Martinez in goal because he's such a weird...
Pantomime villain.
Pantomime villain, exactly right. And it was just that crescendo. I think the first half was a little bit flat, but the crescendo at the end was amazing, and it reminded me of so many good times we've had this season at the Emirates. And even going back to the last season in 2025, that I thought it was a beautiful way to end the year.
Chris, you're
Lovely.
on the side of the pitch. How did you feel about the second half? Talk us through your kind of experience, how you experienced the goals.
So first of all, like I said earlier about wanting maybe to see Martinelli come on for Trossard, how wrong was I? Because he had a blinder in the second half.
He was good in the first half as well, actually. I thought he was our best player.
He carried more threat, but it was just that he was shut down for the reasons I explained earlier. It was just hard to get a breakthrough, but he was the busier of the two. Saka very quiet.
If you watch the Match of the Day highlights, which I did last night, all our chances in the first half came from Trossard.
Mm-hmm.
The two headers for Gyökeres, and other balls. He had a shot as well, another cross in. I didn't realise. I knew he was good in the first half, but I didn't realise he was the only good offensive thing we had in the first half. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah. No. But I think there was a general kind of trend of being more aggressive in that second half and just kind of meeting Villa slightly higher up and not letting them settle into this, like you said earlier, of the time wasting. We was just so aggressive. The way that Ødegaard robbed, I think it was Sancho for our third goal, possibly?
Second.
Was it the second?
Yeah, it was. Then he passed the ball to Zubimendi.
Oh, so he robbed it and then he made that.
Yeah.
That was reminiscent of the pass he made to Trossard in the Champions League last year, where he did that slight stutter just to get the timing right of the. So when you first view that goal, Steph, as you've watched it 1,000 times, you'll notice that he did that slight hesitation. If you're watching it, there's no way through, but then a split second later, the path opens up and then he finds the pass. He did exactly the same for Trossard last season, just. So pleased for him to be finding this vein of form now for us is just huge. First goal, I want to visit that, was it petition.org thing, to have that goal taken away from Gabriel and made an own goal for Martinez. I wonder if that's possible, if we could get a few thousand signatures. Then they'd have to bring it up in Parliament. They'd have to debate it in Parliament. I think if you get to 15,000 signatures, because that would just make it, not only would it be own goal again, ole ole, but it would be Martinez. So call me petty, small, that's my take on the first one. And then for the third, Trossard, there was a ridiculously long delay for two VARs. They were looking at two offsides they were looking at on VAR, apparently.
Hincapié and Saka.
No, for me, it's just the aside from that.
It should have been a penalty to Timber in the same move.
Yes, but the finish was sweet, wasn't it?
It was very similar to the Jesus one, where both players used the defender to kind of blindside the keeper. Beautiful finish. The Zubimendi finish was a brilliant finish. He just lifted it, dinked it over the foot of Martinez and into the bottom corner. It was like lovely finish from a defensive midfielder. And as a signing, Zubimendi, he's been imperious.
Yes.
As a player, I can't remember a signing settling in so quickly.
to fit into
Brilliant.
the British game, you know, the aggression, the power that we have in the game. I mean, just ask Gyökeres, and that's not a slight on him, but it is such a huge jump up. But he's technically so good, and the vision he has, his anticipation, it just slots into this system so well. And I think one of the reasons he was so advanced as well, like you were saying, Holly, is that we'd gotten our shape together. We'd gotten used to not having Rice around, so there were people covering each other more. It was kind of, we were building those relationships during the game, and that wouldn't have happened in the first half. I don't think
he's got a good connection with his Real Sociedad buddy Ødegaard, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And of
clearly.
course Marino was there as well.
And apparently it's now he's already bettered his best ever output for Sociedad in terms of goals and assists. He's like it's something like 6 goals and assists combined compared to 4 for Sociedad, because maybe he was just purely a sort of holding midfielder.
The pre-assist man, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But he's that as well, isn't he? That's the thing for us. He's like the Swiss Army. And then the final goal, again, so pleased to see Jesus getting back. You know, the forgotten man. We're all talking about Havertz coming back. And Jesus steps into the fold, and his first touch, I think, you'll find.
Well, it was his first and second touch for the goal.
Okay.
He controlled it and then shot. Yeah. And my mind went to Gyökeres on the bench.
Penny for Victor's thoughts.
Yes. Although I saw him, he came back onto the pitch at the end of the game and was just hugging Jesus. So that was nice to see. And then that's the thing about this team. They want the best for each other,
no
as
prima
well as
donnas
themselves. Yeah. It's really good.
The fireworks have started here, just in case people can hear. There are fireworks going off. It's only 4:00 New Year's Eve, and people have started in North London fireworks. Just so you
outrageous. Think of the pets.
Yes, exactly.
Right, you've thrown me there, Chris, with your fireworks.
Can I read out a few follower comments about Villa? So, and particularly because they're regular contributors. So, Ars Wenger's on BlueSky, who's a regular contributor, thanks for always getting in touch, just says great second half. They've got more stuff on some of the other things we're going to chat about later. Bell's Gall, also on BlueSky. Villa win was huge and much needed, and I think the manner of the victory is absolutely as important as anything. And then there was Brody Gallagher on Instagram, which he said, last night's win, quite a long one this one, phenomenal. Arteta really showed Unai there's levels to this game. Villa stunk the place out in the first half. Game plan was to kill time and blockers finding our flow, brackets because they know they're inferior. Emmy up to his usual antics. They parked the bus and prayed for a counter, which nearly paid off to be fair. Though as always, Mikel's half-time talk turned things around and we looked full of energy. Another set piece unlocks the low block, and once they start pushing forward, we tore them apart. Unai was rather bitter at full time. I can only imagine the headlines had Arteta stormed off, then proceeded to lie in his interview about waiting for the handshake. Nevertheless, we move forward victorious and leave them behind to battle it out for top 4 again.
Who's that?
Thanks.
Who's that from?
That's Brody Gallagher, Brody.Gallagher94 on Instagram. Thanks, Brody.
That's Brody.Gallagher. I'm really sorry if you're not Irish, but that name kind of points to certainly Celtic. But please come and join us on Patreon. You sound like you sound like my alter ego that actually parrot. I hadn't read what you've written, so but we've arrived at almost identical conclusions. Sorry, go on.
No, that's it. That's it for the Villa game.
Can I just say the images, Steph? I don't know. I'm sure you've put them on Instagram as well, but I've seen them on our Facebook account. The stadium, like the lighting, the light show at the start. Just people go and check those out. They're brilliant. They're one of the best selection of images great. I've seen from a game. And you got Gabriel kissing on his own, like kissing his family up after his goal and so on. So do check those out on Facebook. They are really or Instagram. Yeah, wherever you put them.
It's also worth pointing out that when the firework display happened at the very beginning of the game, the smoke did waft into the east stand, so most of us were coughing at the beginning of the game. And I'm thinking, can the players see each other? Gee. But yeah, it cleared eventually.
Cool. Okay, shall we do our takeaways?
Let's do it.
Man of the match, Steph.
Ødegaard, but a very close to Trossard. Trossard, like you say, was good, but Odegaard's contribution and the way he pressed and led, I thought it was great.
Okay, Chris.
I've gone with Trossard. They're interchangeable, you know, in the sense of what they brought to the game. But yeah,
okay, Chris, it's completely come full circle, hasn't it, for me and you? I've got Trossard as my, yeah. Well, I've got Trossard as my man of the match as well. So.
Okay,
and the player that impressed me most, I've got Odegaard because it was interchangeable. Steph?
Me too.
Okay.
I mean, I've got Zubimendi because I just wanted to give props to him for the goal, yes, but also for the way, because at first our midfield was a little bit overrun, but you know the fact that we built that security and he was very much at the heart of it was great, and he's just been such a good signing.
He was brilliant in the game. Game, but so was Gabriel, and you know we could have picked from 4 or 5 players for man of the match. They're really difficult to single out one above others. Okay, almost loath to do this, but which player kind of for you could have done more in the game, or were you a little bit disappointed with, Steph?
I mean, it probably is Saka, although I do want to talk about... So Saka had a quiet game for him, and I think it was interesting, and Chris, you mentioned this, I think, in the Everton game, that we're building up more of a left-sided bias. We're no longer just funneling the ball outright, and that will mean that Saka's, involved in a slightly different way. And he got marginally better as the game went on, but as the team got better as well. So Saka was quiet. I do also want to... There's a few comments going around about Victor Gyökeres, about praising certain parts of his game. And I just want to point out that some of those comments might be lowering the bar, because it's like, oh, he controlled the ball and passed it. Whoa, well done.
He was responsible for giving up one of those chances Villa had in the first half.
Sure. And so I do think we should be careful in...
It's almost patronising, isn't it?
It's a bit patronising, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, look, he's going to be judged on goals. It was a game where he didn't get goals, so you look at, did he do other things? Well, he had a good headed chance, which, he did as good as he could with. There was another header you pointed out, Holly, where maybe he could have directed it on target.
That first header in the 4th or 5th minute I thought was poor. Second header I thought his movement was excellent.
There are a couple of tackles he made, and there were a couple of passes he made, but again, that shouldn't be the bar. We should expect a little bit more. Right,
I've got a little thing on Victor prepped, so you've let's have a little pause on the takeaways, and I'll just come up, and I've entitled it "In Defence of Victor." Okay, so, and I should reference I got the idea from this from a blog that She Wore, a Yellow Ribbon, put out on Facebook, I think it was. Check out his shop. He's got wicked merch on his shop, by the way. He's not paying me for this. I don't even know who he is. So anyway, but okay. So we signed Victor Gyökeres for 55 million, add-ons up to 64 million. Okay, I'm going to reference other strikers who moved into the Premier League in the summer. Maybe we could have gone for Voltemade at Newcastle, 64 million, add-ons up to 69. So an extra 10 million there. Sorry, Victor Gyökeres has got 5 goals. This is from before last night's matches, so I don't know. Did Voltemade score for Newcastle last night?
Don't think he did.
Okay, so it doesn't matter anyway. So he's got 7 goals. League goals only I'm talking about here. So Gyökeres got 5, Voltemade's got 7, and everyone's saying how well Voltemade's done in the Premier League so far this season. Sesko moved for 66 million, so a lot more than Gyökeres, up to 74. He's got 2 league goals this season, and they've both had time out with injury. Ekitike, 69 million, so 14 million pounds more, rising to 79. He's got 8, so he's got 3 more than Gyökeres. What about existing strikers, I hear you ask?
Oh, you've missed one.
Who?
Isak.
No, I haven't missed him.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't count him because he's been rubbish. And 125 million, there's no. I was thinking of more kind of comparable, more comparable ones. João Pedro, Chelsea. He's got 6 goals, but this is 4th season in the Premier League. And Chelsea create a lot of chances. Watkins, okay, he's now got 6, but up until before yesterday's game, he'd also 5 Premier League goals. And he turned 30 yesterday, by the way. Watkins, that was his 30th birthday, yeah. Oh. Second on the list of top goal scorers this season is Thiago at Brentford. He's got 11 goals. How would you have felt if we'd signed Thiago instead of Gyökeres in the summer?
We would have been underwhelmed.
Yeah, okay. Haaland is a different conversation. He's on his own. Semenyo's third on the list of Premier League goals. He's got 9. He's not a striker, though. He's a winger. So is it fair to compare apples and oranges? Fourth on the list is Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's got 8 goals and he's spent his whole career in the Premier League. How, again, would we have felt if we'd signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the summer instead of Gyökeres?
That would have been a weird one.
Well, it would have. I mean, hang on. Wasn't there a petition for anti-Madueke signing? What would it have been for Calvert-Lewin? And he's got 8. So, look, he's not been great, Gyökeres. And I said I predicted Jesus to start yesterday instead of Gyökeres. But he's kind of par at the moment when held up against the other new strikers into the Premier. He's also been a member of the team that's created an XG of over 3 in their last 5 games. He's been in that team. So he's part of that creation. He won the corner that we scored from. Gabriel's goal. He won that corner yesterday. So I know it's not the headline number that we want the goals. Yes, we want the goals, and he absolutely needs to do better. He needs to impose himself more. Remember why we bought him. You know, remember what he did. Now he's adjusting to us and so on. And yeah, I must admit, you know, Jesus' first 2 touches and it hits the back of the net like that, and you're thinking, Gyökeres is like, I don't know that the camera panned to him on the bench like it used to do with Ramsdale.
Ramsdale, yeah.
But so look, is the jury still out? Have you made your minds up? There were a fair few groans yesterday at the start of the game when the ball was bouncing off him, but I actually felt the crowd got on his side.
As Steph said, I think the crowd were trying to celebrate absolutely everything he did positively, which can have that slightly patronising effect. But I'd rather that than they were getting on his back. And
we need him to be scoring goals
confident.
Second half of the season.
Yeah.
And I think the eye test has a lot to do with it as well, in that he is an awkward character. But we've said this before, that so long as he's effective, I don't really care what he looks like in terms of his gait. And yes, it's going to bounce off him a bit because he's that kind of, he's an oil tanker of a player. He sort of takes him half an hour to turn around and come back the other direction. But that's what he is.
And I don't care about that if he's scoring 25 goals.
Exactly.
But he needs to score 25 goals.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was just a little Gyökeres segue. And I agree that maybe we are lowering the bar because we want him to do well. We need him to do well. And so let's try and play our role in that as well. Where were we? Disappointing. Chris, did you say you're disappointing?
No, and I don't want to sort of go too heavy. And obviously Vic would be one I could talk about. But I think Marino, for me, just because he was sailing a bit close to the wind, and I do think he got exposed a bit.
Can you talk about the 2 tackles? I haven't seen them again.
No, all I saw was the aftermath of because it was right in front of me, but I didn't see it was that Onana was complaining that he'd gone in studs up. He kept making that gesture and showing his studs to the ref and to Marino and sort of saying, no, you did this, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't see it obviously being in the ground. And then latterly I just saw him tussling and for the second offence that could have been a yellow. I think the ref just exercised that thing of, do I really want to send this guy off?
That was at 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't see. I had no. I read it in Arsblog this morning. I had no idea that there was a second chance because I said to you, Steph, my mate messaged me from Ireland watching on the telly. He was questioning whether Marino should have been a red, but I didn't even see the tackle. No,
we didn't see it in the game. I've seen it since. And
what's it like? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, the second way, it's the sort of thing that players get yellow carded for because he's grabbed hold of the player. And
what about the challenge on Onana? Was that a yellow card or a red card or an orange card? If you
probably just a yellow. Has he got the yellow for that one?
Yeah, he got the yellow for
Yeah.
that. It was already on a yellow. Then he was lucky not to get the
That's
second
it. Yeah,
yellow.
and I think there's an argument there, but I do feel like, again, I know you don't want to talk about it, but the refereeing was weird yesterday. There was an advantage played, and then he would go back anyway. He was card happy. He was reactive. He was petty. It felt like he had very little control really in the game. It was a bizarre refereeing performance.
Just before half time, he absolutely lost control. He started waving that card around. You could see it, and it was a Villa player that got the yellow card that time. He was losing control of the game, not just like Arsenal, and he got roundly booed off at half time. But our two quick goals in the first 7-8 minutes of the second half kind of negated.
Yeah, glossed over, didn't it? Yeah.
But we've had previous with Darren England and Jared Gillett on VAR, so like I'm amazed they didn't find a reason to disallow at least one of those goals.
They tried.
They tried indeed. All right, Steph, positive takeaway.
Goals, goals, goals.
I think that was the title of the end of season video in 1993.
Oh, hang on.
Goals galore, I think it might have been.
Oh, no, I haven't got that
Sounds
one.
like a Sky Sports special.
Martin
Voiceover
Tyler
man.
commentating on every game for every club.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but
Stupidly excited voiceover man. Yeah.
okay.
I've got second half aggression, turnovers, not letting Villa settle as my positives. As well as goals.
I've got statement win, and I've also written second half,
Nice.
like pummeling. I loved some of the verbs I was reading. Thrashing, obliterating. Like I got my daughter to read them out to me in the car on the way back. Like read the reports. Inject these verbs into my veins. Negative takeaway, Steph.
It should be injuries, obviously, with Rice going out again as well. But I'm just going to say conceding, if only to take your take you down a peg or two.
That should be a positive takeaway for me.
Yeah, conceding. It was such a weird one because we'd celebrated, although we couldn't see the details of it, the fact that Raya made a save and kept the ball out when it looked like he was not going to then concede one was just a bit weird. But not keeping the clean sheet, that would have been a nice little gloss at the end.
Chris.
Again, I don't want to sound sort of churlish and spoilt, but if we do lose someone of Rice's importance, we don't have a ready-made deputy with that skill set. It's just impossible. So for me, it was just the fact that we took time to adapt to being without him. We looked vulnerable and just took time to adapt to the way Villa cut through us. And that was the main concern, I suppose, for me, is that if it happens again and we lose him, and there's no guarantee he'll be fit for the Bournemouth game, can we hit the ground running and not concede?
I've read two things about Rice. One from Hand of Arsenal, where he said that Rice was trying everything all day yesterday to make himself available for the game, which sounds good, encouraging. But then when Arteta was asked about it after the game, he said, well, we have to wait. Will he be available for Saturday against Bournemouth? Well, we have to wait and see when the swelling comes down.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that doesn't sound as good. So, yeah, hopefully. Steph, your positive takeaway I thought might have been we didn't drop points against a top 4 team.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, the first time this season that we've played a team currently in the top 4 and won the game, basically. That's progress.
Before last night's games, the average position of our remaining away games this season is 12th.
Yeah.
We've played far more difficult on-form teams than, say, City have. And I know City goes to Sunderland on Thursday, but Sunderland's depleted AFCON players, Ballard's possibly.
Out.
It's like, is he definitely out?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So they're playing Sunderland at the right time.
I've written Rice injury for the negative takeaway. Other honourable mentions, though, and I'm going to read through a list. Please pick any of them and discuss them at your what? At your freedom?
At your leisure.
At your leisure, or whatever. Okay. Martinez meltdown. There's video footage of him going down the tunnel. Absolutely brilliant. I said,
Rattled.
I'm glad they've not got the tunnel. Yeah. Also, Gabriel in the tunnel doing his
Pocket.
Anana 1, 2, 3 points in your pocket. I didn't even know that was a thing.
He did it after
love
the
it.
Chelsea game, didn't he, Anana, I think?
He did it after lots of games.
Oh, did he?
Man United as well.
It's a thing, is
There's
it?
this- yeah, it's something he does.
Well, then I can't wait to sign Anana, because that's what we seem to do. We signed Gyökeres after Gabriel did that.
Oh, yeah, true.
So we'll probably sign Anana now.
The Zubamendi performance I've written down, Emery's petulance at the end, but I have to kind of leave. My final word has to be something I witnessed happen in the game at the time, and I thought it was brilliant. And it's concerning Martinez and the ball boy.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. The
Yes.
ball boy, for those of you who haven't seen it,
It's right in front of you, right?
it was right in front of us. Right in front of us. The ball boy was offering Martinez the ball, and he kept making Martinez come closer to him. Martinez got within like about 6 inches of his hand, and the ball boy just dropped it on the
Beautiful.
ground.
Absolutely beautiful.
Brilliant. And then Martinez like kind of huffily picked the ball up, and then the cone they put the ball on, picked it up and threw it nearer to the goal. And the ball boy went and got the cone and brought it back to where it was originally meant to be. And it got as big a cheer as any of the goals got from where we were, right in front of us. And I hope he did not get into trouble from whoever manages the ball boys, because it was brilliant.
I'm sure he would have been given an award for that. And I'd go even further. I'd say
North
that
Banksy. Yeah.
I think Mikel's attention to detail leads me to think that he may well have trained that boy to do that.
Well, there's that famous, is it the Spurs game?
Spurs,
or
Mourinho.
Yeah, the ball boy, quick throw, bang, goal. So look, they were my other kind of honourable mentions for noteworthy, enjoyable moments. What about you guys? Them or those ones or any others?
I mean, that's it for me. Just the fact that it was then... There was almost a David Raya chant going, but it was really aimed at Martinez. So that was a shame.
Almost. I think we heard that loud and clear.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
But
there was a swear word in
the
it.
expletive one.
Yeah.
Oh, people can figure it out. You're not as good as David Raya was the subtext of it. You're awfully good, but not quite good enough.
Yeah. I mean, and that he's got... Was it main character syndrome? He would have hated it. Absolutely hated it. All those chants would have got right under his skin. And the beauty of it is we all knew it. And then he had his little meltdown leaving the pitch. Beautiful.
Can I just add as well, and again, it sounds really petty, but when I went and saw the cup final in Cardiff v United years ago, when Vieira scored that last goal, a United fan, I got jostled by some United fans because I was wearing my Arsenal top and I sort of strayed into the wrong area, and I got a pie thrown at me. Right.
I can't wait to see how this links back to Martinez.
So I brushed it off, and obviously I didn't make a thing of it, and I just got jeered as I walked back to the Arsenal end, kind of thing.
What pie was it?
And I don't know. I didn't stop to taste it. But
What pie was it?
I thought karma will get you, my friend. Karma will get you. And sure enough,
did.
on the day they lost. But on my way to the Arsenal game yesterday on the tube, there were some very rowdy, annoying Villa fans who were trying to goad Arsenal fans, with their colours on, singing songs in their faces, clearly leathered, 5 sheets to the wind. And I thought that, we're not in a group of hundreds of people here where you can sort of banter off singing. This is on a tube where people are just going home, going to work, whatever. And they were being very disruptive. So I thought karma will come to you too, my friends. And so it did.
On that, so they put
That's how the pie links.
You've got a pie story as well.
No. Well, I was just going to say about supporters, because the away supporters coaches, well, there was a mix, because there's home supporters coaches like the one I usually get, and they put them near the Tollington on Hornsey Road. But they had Villa coaches there as well. So as Arsenal fans are streaming away from the stadium, there's just Villa fans congregating at the coaches. And again, because they'd lost, and they're all absolutely leathered, you can just see that they're swaying on their feet, but they're chanting second again and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking, but that's not an own. We're above you. You had the chance to go honours. It's all well and good saying that, like, with disappointment, but you want to be in the position we're in. So I just don't get it. But then when that's all you've got, fine. Yeah. It was just petty. But again, the policing was just non-existent. So it was a bit stupid to put them there. And like you say, on the whole, a lot of Villa fans I've seen online are all, they're bullish to a certain degree about how they've been performing and how they've been doing, but most are of the opinion that this is a good team, but it might not be a title-winning team. That is kind of a little bit ridiculous, and we're just really pleased that we're doing this well. But there is obviously a core that alcohol-induced are tipping over ever so slightly, which is a shame.
No, as there will be Arsenal fans as well.
I'm sure 100%.
Yeah.
And what would be interesting if there are any Villa fans watching or listening, why? First of all,
join us on Patreon for free.
But actually, all the Villa fans who kind of slid into our messages, our comment sections on the various platforms after they beat us at Villa Park were really nice.
Yeah.
And they were complimentary and wish us well for the rest of the season. But that was from a winning position. So let's see if any of them slide into our comments now to say well done this time, or we'll see. Anyway, are we done with Villa?
Yeah.
Good. Bournemouth.
Quickly.
5:30 p.m. Saturday evening kickoff. They're 15th. They've drawn 4 of their last 6. They haven't won since October the 26th. I did hear Iriola say that Semenyo will play against us, but it might not be his decision. They got a pretty decent 2-2 draw at Chelsea, although is that a big result?
It was such a chaotic game. I mean, we saw some of it, didn't we, in the concourse?
Yeah.
That there was 4 first half goals, and then it kind of petered out effectively. But you saw porous defences on both sides of that game, and I think not easy to get a sense of how they might set up against us. Watching that, it just seemed too chaotic.
Okay, well, let's keep it brief because you have been chatting for a while now. Steph, starting 11 for Bournemouth?
Raya in goal, again, injuries permitting. Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Nkapie, Odegaard, Zubamendi, Marino, Saka, Gyökeres, Trossard. If Calafiori's fit, he was pitch side in a tracksuit, he replaces Nkapie if he's ready to go. And obviously if Rice's swelling goes down, then he'll probably come in and replace Marino, but as you were.
Chris?
I've got Rice in. You mentioned Marino there as the left 8.
Odegaard, Zubamendi, Marino, yeah.
Okay, so mine's the same, but with Rice there. I'm just assuming that he'll be fit.
I hope he's fit.
I don't think Calafiori will make it.
Well, it depends on what his illness, injury situation was. If it was, as somebody rumoured before the Villa game, what it was, then he'll be fine for Saturday. Tummy bugs usually clear up quite quickly.
If it's the tummy bug, great. But I just fear with him that he's got this fragility that, he's twanged something, bending over to pick up a piece of Lego for his child or something.
No.
Does he have
Calafiori?
kids?
No, he doesn't, does he? He's too young. He's
He'll probably have asked for New Year off so he can go to some trendy, fashionable party somewhere in Paris.
In Milan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've got Calafiori and Rice starting, but with a question mark for both, obviously. And that would be so Havertz on the bench. We haven't mentioned that at all. Havertz back on the bench. He started one game in 2025. And he's back on the bench. Brilliant to see. And nice to get a little rendition of his song again. Are we stronger? Do we have a stronger... that is our strongest... That is us missing 0 players from our first 11/14-15. Who's Mosquera? Who else is missing? Ben White was on the bench yesterday as well.
Yeah, that's probably it.
This is good. We're coming in. We've dealt with a lot of injuries, and fingers crossed, touch woods, that maybe as we enter into 2026, that we're going into it full strength.
Ethan Nwaneri wasn't even in the squad.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about January in a minute. Well, yeah. Let's do the scorelines, and then we can talk about the AOBs and so on. Steph, what have you got?
2-1 Arsenal.
Chris?
Oh, slightly more bullish. 2-0 Arsenal.
Well, boys, you're both wrong. It's going to be 3-1.
Okay.
Obviously. I've looked into my crystal ball. It's 3-1. Okay. Okay. Do you want to January, or should we acknowledge that this is the last podcast of 2025, and we're halfway through the season. What are your highlights? Steph, have you got some thingy-me-jigs to read out?
Oh, if we're looking at... so we're halfway through the season. Literally,
Exactly.
I played our 19th game yesterday, so I did ask people about various things to do with that. So in terms of this first half of the season, I asked people who their player of the half season is. And Arsvengers on BlueSky said, fair shout for Leo, but honourable mention to our stealth signing, Owen Goal. Because of the last few weeks. And then Bells Gall on BlueSky said, for the women's team, Liv Smith, and for the men's team, Zuba Mendy. Both newcomers, both look like they've been here forever and have made a massive difference, which is, absolutely right. I concur with that. Friend of mine, Watsy, hello Watsy on Instagram, he said, Trossard, excellent again last night and a worthy challenger to Declan for player of the season so far. Declan, Trossard, his quality on the ball and overall output has been incredible. I'm not sure any of us expected him to reach this level of performance and consistency. Could we eventually see his contract renewal as our best piece of summer business? Because we all raised an eyebrow a little bit. We thought there might be some money to be made were he to be sold. And his contract renewal really was just a pay rise. There wasn't a change in terms, I don't believe. So really interesting point there, Watsy. Thanks for getting in touch. And then Brody Gallagher again on Instagram has said, halfway point of the season, how could we possibly complain? Top of both leagues and a Carabao semi-final. We've hopefully weathered the injury crisis storm and look to have competition for places at last. We're due a big win, and it came at the expense of Unai, Emmy and some rather deluded Villa fans to kick us on. Things are looking rosy. Player of the season so far? Rice. No explanation needed. If he were at any other club, he'd be spoken about as one of the very, very best. And I find it hard to disagree. Although personally, if you were pinning me down for player of the half season, it's Trossard. He's been absolutely clutch. He's scored important goals. He's delivered when others haven't, and I think he's been magnificent.
Chris?
Very good. I'm going to whistle through mine because there will be a little bit of a repetition, I think. But from the highlight point of view, maybe it's recency bias, but I think yesterday's result was huge for me as like a highlight. It's a sort of culmination of getting our players slowly coming back from injury, and it just feels like a kind of seismic, hopefully, touch wood, it's a sort of thing.
Statement.
A statement, thank you, that's the word. The low light, again, I think around the Villa theme, injuries, yes, but also that when we lost to Villa, the manner of the defeat was really crushing, and the poor form around it. You know, we were mentioning earlier about the Wolves game and that we were sort of staggering, but yet we were still winning. Yep. So there's a kind of, silver lining to that. For me, player of the season, Rice. Honourable mention, for me, Calafiori, in the way that I feel he's improved as a defender. His off-the-ball work, I just think has been incredible turnaround. And that's probably more to do with this season than the year, I'll admit. Hopes for the second half. And I know you put more precise than simply staying top, Holly. So I've just got stay fit, find consistency with better rotation, and Vic finds form.
And stay top.
And stay top. With goals, goals, goals.
I'm not going to repeat anything you've all said because I agree with all of it. I'll add one other player to the conversation for player of the season so far, David Raya.
Oh, yeah.
Just think, and again, the fact that we don't talk about him is probably like Zubimendi in a sense. Like, his levels are so high that we just expect him to not be beaten. He's been brilliant, and he's saved us. You talk about Trossard with important goals. Well, Raya's made important saves that have guaranteed us points where otherwise we would have dropped them.
That Brighton save. Oh,
yes.
Ridiculous.
I forgot about the other categories, so just to summarise a couple of things. Positives, not drawing games that we might have otherwise done, or we certainly felt we did last season, so there's definitely a step up in terms of that mentality. Can
I just jump in on that with a stat?
Yeah.
We are now 12 points better off compared to this equivalent games last season.
Yeah, that's it. We're beating teams we dropped points against.
And we lost at Bournemouth last year.
Yes. That was the Saliba red card, wasn't it?
It was.
My negative, looking back, injuries is the obvious one and all those sorts of things as well. Not beating Liverpool when everyone else bloody seemed to. Like, we did it when Man United suddenly dropped off after Fergie, where, people were breaking 50, 60-year records when they hadn't beaten them, and we were still losing to a teenage Marcus Rashford. And we played Liverpool at the time when they were doing a Villa and outperforming their XG and all those sorts of bloody things, and we ended up losing to a world-class free kick from Szoboszlai, and there was me thinking I was going to get a bloody win at Anfield, so that annoyed me a little bit and still sticks in the craw, but there we go. Hopes for 2026, which isn't just win something, obviously. We're coming up to a key period. FA Cup is going to come back in. Champions League is going to restart. We've got League Cup semi-finals. So all those fringe squad players, because we've noted that in the last few games, Madueke and Eze haven't been used at all. Nwaneri's now wasn't even in the matchday squad yesterday, and Martinelli has been used a bit here and there. Those players could become really important. So I really hope that when they are used and turned to, that they are able to deliver, because we know they can. Madueke was brilliant when he first started. Eze put in one of the performances of forever against Tottenham, scoring a hat-trick against them. So, hopefully those players can really come in and help the cause.
Another positive and highlight, Steph, should have been the TIFO. We've sorted out the TIFO.
Oh, that might be the biggest improvement we've made on last season. Forget your 12 points in equivalent fixtures. We fixed the shower curtain.
Yeah, slightly less important, but,
not to me, it's
nonetheless. Okay, January. I know, Steph, it's the topic that you're dying to talk about.
Oh, am I?
Arteta did indicate that Arsenal will open for business in terms of incomings. Can you see any? And if so, where would you see them? And what about outgoings?
Well, the outgoings is already starting to rumble because Nwaneri has been rumoured to perhaps end up at Bournemouth on a half-season loan, which, if he's not making matchday squads now, could make a huge amount of success, sense, I should say, not success. Well, I hope it makes success, but there we go. As for anyone else, I'm not sure. I think the injury situation that we've had and the games that are going to start accruing, we hope, means that I don't know if we can afford to lose if many more. Would
you be okay with Nwaneri going to Bournemouth? Or anyone?
I think so. Because where is he on the pecking order at the moment? It would require another spate of really unfortunate injuries for us to really rely on him again.
Well, if we could insert a clause saying we can recall him from that.
Yeah, that would be good. Because he is at such a level that he could come straight back into the team. He's good enough. But I worry that him not featuring and not even making matchday squads will somehow be a bit of a drawback to his progress. So,
what about incomings?
Yeah, I don't know what I see at the moment, because I feel like we've extended ourselves financially in the summer, and we definitely needed lots of those signings. Even the Nkapie one, which felt like a last-minute kind of what do we do? But he's been great, yeah, absolutely. Apart from that moment when he bizarrely kicked the ground rather than the ball yesterday, that was quite funny. I'm glad he did that 2-0 up rather than 0-0 up, is all I'll say about that. But no, he's been really good and necessary as well. Whether we can get anyone in would be good. Again, someone who can maybe. But then Norgard is there. I don't know what it would be. I'm at a loss.
Chris, what about you?
Yeah, and off the back of that, I feel like this is too soon to be making major signings for the reasons we've only brought on board Zubimendi, Norgard, and we've got Marino as well. But the centre mid position is where I feel we could need strengthening, but not yet. Is my take on it. And for the Nwaneri point of view, soft factors here. I just feel like, what does the player want? Because if I'm Arteta or any manager, I want as many players at my disposal as possible. But it doesn't work like that. You can't just have people swilling around not getting game time. Breeds that kind of discontent. You need to keep people happy. So what does he want? Is he happy to sit around waiting for his chances, or does he need game time? I suspect the latter.
But someone I was with yesterday had a good point and said, actually, the player might want to be at Arsenal while it's like this. And so because he's 18, 19 now. And so actually, there's still room in his development that in the next 2 or 3 years he could still go out on a loan at some point.
If you compare his stats with Saka's stats at the same age, he's way ahead.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't
it? Also interesting is how Miles copes with it, because he hasn't had much more game time than Nwaneri, but you don't get the impression that Miles would be agitating for...
He's had a lot more involvement, though. He's featured almost in every game to some extent.
But even when he hasn't, there's been a clearer pathway to him doing so, that he's been on the bench with a greater chance of coming on, and he can see that he's now with our injuries, that he can see a pathway, whereas Nwaneri's waiting for Eze to go down as well. Possibly.
Well, yeah, or Saka, yeah. I mean, because he played most of his minutes last season in Saka's position, didn't he? Yeah.
We'll see.
If we can bring forward a signing that we were going to make in the summer, I could see an argument for it in whatever position. If you're being really picky, or I don't know, there's another word, we can improve in a striking position. I know we've got Havertz, like a new signing coming on, but again, we had Havertz and we still wanted a striker.
Yeah,
that's not changed. Jesus, he could go in a clutch like he did a year and a bit ago and score 4 or 5 goals in 4 or 5 games, and then he's gone for 2 months or 3 months or a year, as it was this time round.
I agree. I'll just quote Harry Symeou from the Chronicles of a Gooner. Good pod, if anyone, daily pod. He said when we got Vic, he thought he might be the option up front, but now he's just become an option.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair. It's not denigrating too much.
That's not fixed. That's still fluid. But
absolutely.
Right now,
but also the price point. He's not like marquee signing kind of. Yeah. We bought him at a reasonable price. So
that's why I listed the alternatives.
Yeah.
55
Put it into perspective.
Million.
Yeah.
The next cheapest striker that was signed and brought into the Premier League in the summer was Voltemada at 64 million, £9 million more, and I'm sure Victor's not on a massive wage either. As in like a Haaland type wage.
No one is.
No. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I've got one more little thing. Go on, Steph, have you got something?
Well, just a look back, because we're recording this on New Year's Eve and we welcome 2026 tomorrow. And I did put a question out to our followers about their sort of favourite memories about 2025, because it has been something of a year for Arsenal, albeit it hasn't led to a trophy being our podcast, except for the women in the Champions League, it should be said. But there's been some unbelievable moments. So again, Arsene Wenger's on BlueSky. Highlights for 2025: Rice versus Real Madrid. That's the obvious one. I mean, that should go without saying, but absolutely right. And the Ladies' Champions League win, so thanks very much for that. Bell's Goal on BlueSky. Favourite moment has to be the Champions League final for the women and the way the Eze signing unfolded. And I have to say, the fact that he did it, he basically begged us, please don't let me go to Spurs. Please, please. I'll be good, I'll promise. And then to deliver a hat-trick in the first North London derby was just...
narrative.
Mwah. It was chef's kiss. It was so good. So absolutely worth shouting that out. Thanks, Bell's Goal. And then again, he's becoming a bit of a star on the pod, but Brody Gallagher on Instagram. Favourite moment? Despite the mainstream narrative, there have been many great moments this year. Top of the list, I think, was beating City 5-1. And I must admit, obviously the Rice-Real Madrid thing. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on the pod before, but I was also in the Bernabeu when we beat Real Madrid.
Were you?
Yeah, I don't know. I've gone the whole year without mentioning it. It's unreal, isn't it?
You should talk about that more.
I'm thinking of starting a separate podcast, which is all about just me.
I was there.
Bernabeu to watch Arsenal beat Real Madrid. But anyway, sorry, Brody, I've trampled all over that. He says, top of the list, I think, was beating City 5-1. Not just the win, but what it showed about our togetherness and the players' want to fight for the manager. Summed up when a teenage Miles Lewis-Skelly mocked Haaland, or perhaps suggested he simply stay humble. Other big signs were the contract renewals, when players like Saliba and Saka turned down enormous offers from the best clubs in the world because they're so bought into to winning it all with Arsenal. Something special really is happening, and so did Gabriel, it should be said as well. Another honourable mention is when Eze walked out at the Emirates, a moment that will last the rest of time, hopefully with him having earned major honours at the club. So thanks for that, Brodie. That's brilliant.
Just on the Saliba thing, I read today somewhere that I think it was Hand of Arsenal was kind of bigging up Saliba. Saliba spoke to Gabriel and Arteta. There was very real interest from Real Madrid, i.e. he could have gone to Real Madrid. It sounds like Arsenal wouldn't have stood in his way had he indicated a desire to do that, which is good from the club. But he spoke to Gabriel and he spoke to Arteta, and he decided that, no, this is where I want to be. I think that's brilliant. Like that's, if you want any illustration of the buy-in from the players, you've got your best centre back, like age potential ceiling, alongside as part of your best centre back pairing in possibly world football, committing the best years of his career,
and watching that permeate through to the other players.
Yep.
That's huge.
Interesting point about Ranieri might not want to go on loan.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's see how. So, shall I offer you my calendar year assessment very quickly?
Yeah.
As a sort of wrap up of the year. And remember, if this translated into season upon season, I'd be a very happy man. We played 39 Premier League games in 2025 and ended on top of the yearly league table for a second year in a row, 3 clear of Manchester City, having played 2 more matches, over the year. We took 83 points with a goal difference of 41. We conceded 14 fewer goals than any other side and were joint second top scorers with 71 goals. Here's one I'll ask you. Who is the leading goal scorer across the calendar year for us?
Bukayo Saka.
Trossard.
Marino, 7 goals.
Behave.
Trossard's got 7 this season.
Apparently, this is the stat I've dug up. So don't shoot the messenger. Leads in the Premier League.
Trossard just scored 7 this season.
In the Prem. Has he scored in the Prem 7 goals? I don't think so.
I don't know. This season he had 6 and 5, but I don't know. How much Prem that is. But
anyway.
Steph loves, what you don't know, Chris, is Steph loves nothing more. The only thing he loves more than talking about January transfers is talking about calendar year tables.
Football seasons are not calendar years.
No, I know, but it's just a little whimsical thing to end the year with, Steph. Just buy it and move on.
I'm going to offer a giant big tick to my Manchester United bingo to round off the year as I see fit. It's a Man United and Spurs bingo thing, right? Wolves have accrued 66.7% of their total points this season from last season's Europa League finalists. So
Amazing.
2 of their 3 points have come from United and Spurs.
Away at
away.
Well.
I guess beating Wolves at home is not for everyone.
Beautiful. Well, we only just did it. So
Hey, 2-1. No one looks at the how.
2-1 humbling.
Yeah, statement making. Okay, look, on that, yes, it is New Year's Eve. It is now 5:15. We've got 6 or 7 hours, oh dear, to left of 2025. So take this opportunity to thank everybody for their support over the year. Wish everybody health, happiness, joy as we get into 2026. And Steph's going to add something to that.
I was just going to do one more self-indulgent thing. I know we've rambled on and you were wrapping up, but and thanks to all our listeners. But we did have, again, Brodie Gallagher, legend that is on Instagram. He just
better join our Patreon now.
He said this about us, okay? Look at this. This is soppy, this is self-indulgent, and I don't care. He says...
Do we know him?
No. Firstly, just to say, huge fan of the pod, and I think you guys are an honour to our club and the true ambassadors we should be promoting. fighting, not those other guys we see online that do nothing but make a mockery of the Arsenal. Level-headed, fair, classy, and exactly what the club is all about. Keep doing what you're doing. He hopes in 2026 that we will do the double. It's time to bring the Premier League back to its rightful home in North London and get the trophy with the big ears as well, because it's time. Obviously the European Cup. He says, thank you for all your efforts recording, editing and posting so often throughout the year. It's refreshing to hear sensible football discussioning in a world of clickbait. All the best for 2026 in your personal lives and, of course, come on, you Gunners.
Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you, Brody.
Dad.
That is very humbling and it's our pleasure. And, yeah, bring on 2026.
Wow.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you all again in 2026. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't drink
Cheers.
too much.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.